I really hate how things have unfolded for Russell Westbrook because, honestly, it never should have reached this point. We're talking about the NBA's all-time leader in triple-doubles, a former league MVP, and a player who averaged a triple-double in 4 different seasons, something many people believed would never be accomplished again after Oscar Robertson. Yet here we are, deep into the offseason, and Westbrook is still waiting for the kind of interest a player of his resume should be generating. Every new report about his free agency seems to suggest the market has gone cold. It raises a serious question. How does a future Hall of Fame point guard find himself in this position? The unfortunate truth is that the conversation surrounding Russell Westbrook has completely changed. There are even reports claiming that a respected voice within NBA coaching circles advised the Miami Heat not to pursue him, a development that's hard to believe considering everything he's accomplished. We'll get into that in a moment because it's one of the more surprising parts of this story. 5 years ago, one blockbuster trade reshaped the future of 2 franchises overnight. The Los Angeles Lakers gave up a package that many fans still cringe thinking about. It's easy to forget just how much valuable depth they sacrificed in that deal. Those weren't insignificant role players, they were legitimate assets. In return, they received a player whose fit alongside the roster never truly worked. Before long, the experiment unraveled. The hometown crowd turned against one of Southern California's own, and a nickname that followed Russell Westbrook into nearly every arena became part of the narrative for years afterward.
Disappointed with Westbrook is I thought he was going to come with all this energy, get the rebound, go coast to coast. We haven't seen a lot of that. So we got to start seeing that. Where's that aggression? Where's that Westbrook go coast to coast dunking on people?
That was Magic Johnson, the greatest point guard in the Lakers' history, and to many, the greatest point guard the game has ever seen, accidentally referring to Russell Westbrook as Westbrick twice during a national broadcast. As unbelievable as it sounded, it had become just another chapter in Westbrook's difficult time in Los Angeles. Earlier that same season, Westbrook caught the ball beyond the three-point line at Crypto.com Arena with Mitchell Robinson closing out. Before he could even rise into his shot, nearly 19,000 Lakers fans were already yelling for him not to shoot. Imagine hearing your own home crowd pleading with you to pass up an open look before you've even released the ball. How do you recover from something like that? Russell Westbrook was back home, wearing the jersey of the franchise he grew up watching, playing in front of a fan base that should have embraced him. Instead, his own supporters were openly rooting against him taking a shot. By the time the Lakers eventually moved on from him, the conversation had grown far beyond missed jumpers or poor roster construction. One anonymous report even described trading Westbrook as removing a vampire from the locker room. Think about that for a second. They were calling a future Hall of Famer a locker room vampire, even though he was still the same relentless, high-energy competitor he'd always been. The very qualities that once made him one of the most exciting players in NBA history were suddenly being portrayed as reasons teams should avoid him. The cost of that trade never truly disappeared. The Lakers gave up 2 valuable contributors from their championship roster to acquire Westbrook. Then, just a season and a half later, they had to include a top 4 protected 2027 first-round pick simply to move his contract. The deal hurt the Lakers' ability to maximize the remainder of LeBron James's time in Los Angeles, while also dealing a blow to Westbrook's reputation that he has never fully been able to recover from. Today, LeBron is beginning a new chapter in Philadelphia, while Westbrook's journey has taken a very different direction, one that has gradually pushed him toward the end of his NBA career. At 37 years old, that's not entirely unexpected. Still, it's unfortunate to see things ending this way for someone who accomplished so much during his prime. Before we continue, if you're enjoying the video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. There's no question Westbrook was a terrible fit with the Lakers, and that trade will always be one of the biggest blemishes on Rob Pelinka's resume. At the same time, Russ didn't always help his own case. During his exit interview after that first season, he spoke about sacrificing touches, playing off the ball, and standing in spots on the floor he'd never occupied before. Then he explained that because he had averaged a triple-double before arriving in Los Angeles, anything less than that couldn't be considered a successful season. The problem was that the Lakers had just finished 33-49 and failed to even qualify for the play-in tournament. While fans were focused on the team's disappointing results, Westbrook seemed to be measuring success against his own statistical standards. That response didn't sit well with many Lakers supporters. Honestly, he probably would have received a warmer reaction if he'd simply criticized LeBron instead. After leaving Los Angeles, Westbrook slowly began rebuilding his value. Utah bought his contract, and the Clippers gave him another opportunity. He rewarded them with solid play, earning Sixth Man of the Year votes in back-to-back seasons. During stretches of the Clippers' 2023 playoff series against Phoenix, he arguably became their best available player, scoring 30 points with 12 assists in Game 3, before exploding for 37 points 2 nights later, while Kawhi Leonard and Paul George watched from the sidelines. Denver became his next destination, and Westbrook once again proved he could still contribute. He averaged 13 points and 6 assists over 75 games, providing much-needed production for a Denver team that came within one victory of reaching the Western Conference Finals. His energy and durability helped compensate for Denver's lack of depth throughout the regular season. Then came a surprising decision. Westbrook declined his $4.3 million player option, apparently believing a stronger opportunity would present itself in free agency. It never did. The summer passed without a contract. Training camp came and went. The preseason started, and Westbrook remained unsigned. Rumors began circulating about a possible move to China, although reports suggested he never seriously considered leaving the NBA. Eventually, Sacramento called. Less than a week before opening night, Westbrook signed a veteran minimum contract, giving himself one more opportunity to prove he still belonged in the league. By the fourth game of the season, head coach Doug Christie had already experimented with inserting him into the starting lineup. 12 games later, that decision became permanent. Westbrook started 58 of the 64 games he played, averaging 15 points, nearly 7 assists, and 5.5 rebounds per contest. It was his highest scoring average over a full season since his time with the Lakers. He also knocked down nearly 2 three-pointers per game at close to 34%, his highest three-point volume since his MVP campaign. Unfortunately, those numbers came on a Kings team that finished just 22-62. The wins weren't there, but his contributions still mattered to his teammates and coaching staff. One of the sweetest moments of the season was against Denver. You could tell that knocking down a clutch shot against his former team meant something special.
While playing for a struggling team, Westbrook continued climbing the NBA record books. On December 27th, he recorded the 2,000th steal of his career, while also passing Magic Johnson for 7th place on the league's all-time assists list in the very same game. Then, on January 2nd, during a fourth-quarter driving layup against Phoenix, Westbrook passed Oscar Robertson to become the highest-scoring point guard in NBA history. Russell Westbrook etched his name even deeper into NBA history by climbing to 15th on the league's all-time scoring list. Unfortunately, he never got the chance to finish the season. His body slowly started breaking down, one injury at a time. It began with his ankle, then his thigh, followed by his quad, and eventually his right foot. By the end of March, an MRI revealed irritation in the joint of his right big toe. That injury forced him to miss the final 11 games, bringing his season to an early close. I have to admit, back in the day, late-season injuries on struggling teams always made me wonder if tanking was involved. Thankfully, Adam Silver stepped in with new rules that have helped reduce those concerns. During Westbrook's exit interview, he mentioned that he didn't even have a job until just 2 days before the season began. He said he felt grateful simply to make it through another NBA season and made it clear that he would gladly return to Sacramento if the team wanted him back. But it quickly became obvious that bringing him back wasn't high on the Kings' priority list. Sacramento gave everyone a glimpse of its plans at point guard during the NBA draft.
They selected Darius Alford with the 7th overall pick and clearly started focusing on the future. Jake Fisher also reported that executives around the league were not expecting Westbrook to return. He averaged 15 points and 7 assists while playing on a minimum contract for a team that won only 22 games, and in the end, his reward was little more than a thank you and a handshake. That left everyone watching one question throughout the summer: where would Russell Westbrook end up next? Eventually, Westbrook emerged as a possible option for Miami after the Heat traded for Giannis. Stefan Bondi of the New York Post reported that there was one important condition attached. According to a league source, Westbrook was a possibility for Miami, but only if LeBron James didn't sign there. As strange as that sounds, it also suggested these two still weren't completely past everything that happened between them. Earlier this offseason, reports claimed that LeBron's relationship with the Lakers permanently changed after the failed Russell Westbrook experiment in Los Angeles. It really makes you wonder what things would look like today if that trade had never happened. Maybe LeBron would still be in Los Angeles instead of playing in Philadelphia. I don't know for sure, but it's definitely an interesting possibility. With LeBron ultimately staying away from Miami, the Heat became a team that made plenty of sense for Westbrook because they still needed another reliable playmaker. But once again, another report surfaced. An NBA source with connections to Eric Spoelstra and several other coaches claimed that someone Spoelstra trusted had advised Miami against signing Westbrook, describing him as difficult to coach. Now, that report reportedly dated back to 2023. Still, desperation has a way of changing minds. When a team becomes desperate enough, Russell Westbrook can suddenly look a whole lot more appealing, no matter what someone may have said years earlier. Desperation can even make an overseas contract, the kind Westbrook might have laughed off 2 summers ago, start looking like a perfectly cooked ribeye from one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants. I honestly have no idea if those restaurants live up to the hype, but I'd probably give one a shot tomorrow based on reputation alone. If the rumors were accurate and Westbrook really turned down that massive offer from China last year, maybe it truly has always been NBA or nothing for him. Personally, I think seeing Russ overseas at this point in his career would actually be a loss for NBA teams that could still benefit from what he brings. There are plenty of teams that could use him. If you can sign him for the veteran minimum, chances are you're still getting production worth more than that contract. At the very least, that's outstanding depth. That's exactly why I could see Houston taking interest. Fred VanVleet should be back. They landed Marcus Smart in free agency, and everyone is waiting for Reed Shepherd to make that next leap. Even so, Houston lacked quality guard depth throughout last season, so why not add Russell Westbrook? He would provide another experienced playmaker and another respected veteran. And after all these years, we'd finally get another opportunity to watch Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook share the same roster. I honestly don't know where KD and Russ stand with each other these days. What I do know is that last October, after Fred VanVleet's ACL injury left Houston suddenly searching for a point guard, Kay Adams asked Durant about a possible reunion during Up and Adams. Durant called Westbrook a legend, said he deserved to remain in the NBA and deserved to leave the league on his own terms, then admitted that bringing him back together with Houston would be dope, before reminding everyone that those decisions weren't his to make. It sounds great in theory, doesn't it? But when I really try to make basketball sense of it for the Rockets, it doesn't completely convince me. Houston already struggled with spacing last season, and adding Russell Westbrook doesn't exactly solve that issue. He would absolutely be a valuable depth piece at whatever price he signs for, but somewhere around the league there has to be a roster that truly needs the things he still does exceptionally well. That said, let's put all of those possibilities aside, because this is what I really believe. The ending Russell Westbrook deserves is in Oklahoma City. Even though the Thunder traded him years ago, he has never truly separated himself from the city. He has invested tens of millions of dollars into Oklahoma City through projects involving the new soccer stadium, the entertainment district, and numerous local businesses. Every time he talks about Oklahoma City, you can see how much the place still means to him.